let me be very clear with you. Matt is upset about an ethics complaint. I don't care what they threaten against me. I am not going to interject into an independent committee like ethics committee. So they can do whatever they want, but I'm going to maintain this meeting.
The speaker says this is really about an ethics complaint. Your response?
Well, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and his ongoing feud with Matt Gaetz is really heating up. As you can see, Kevin McCarthy finally grew a pair and actually responded to Matt Gaetz forcefully, aggressively. Now, as a reminder, McCarthy was referring to a probe currently being conducted by the House Ethics Committee into Matt Gaetz, which, to be quite frank with you all, I didn't even know this was happening, because while the DOJ has since dropped their investigation into Matt Gaetz, apparently a House Ethics Committee is continuing this investigation. So investigators from the House Ethics Committee have begun reaching out to witnesses as part of a recently revived investigation, okay, into Representative Matt Gaetz of Florida, focused on allegations that he may have engaged in sexual misconduct, illicit drug use, or other misconduct. The committee deferred its investigation at the request of the DOJ, which was simultaneously engaged in a probe in regard to these allegations. Now, the committee resumed its work earlier this year after the DOJ concluded its investigation without bringing forth any charges. Now, the Ethics Committee, which at the time was controlled by Democrats, originally opened an investigation in 2021, publicly announcing that they were examining a range of allegations, including that Gaetz violated sex trafficking laws, shared inappropriate images or videos on the House floor, converted campaign funds to personal use, and accepted a bribe, among other claims. Now, those are interesting allegations, especially considering the fact that Representative Gaetz likes to present himself as an uncorrupted politician, someone who refuses to take corporate PAC money. And some of these allegations obviously include bribes. So we'll see if the investigation turns anything up. But Gaetz has always denied any wrongdoing, telling CNN that the Ethics Committee typically operates through leaks, and so this is no surprise. But the Ethics Committee has never found me to be in violation of House rules, though they've been investigating me during my entire 7 years in Congress. It's also funny that the one guy who doesn't take the corrupt lobbyist and PAC money seems to be under the most ethics investigations.
You know, I gotta be honest, I'm totally split on that. So in terms of the substance of their disagreement, I'm not on Matt Gaetz' side. Matt Gaetz is, there's no appeasing him. He just wants more and more and more radical. There's nothing that Kevin McCarthy could do that would be radical enough for Matt Gaetz. So you can see where my quote unquote bias or perspective is, right? Having said that, I'd really love to see the evidence on Matt Gaetz in this investigation, because it is entirely possible that he's full of crap and maybe he took a bribe, etc., right? But it is also entirely possible that the Republican leadership, A, hates him in general because of all of his attacks against them, and B, extra hates him because he doesn't take corporate PAC money.
Agreed. I totally agree with your analysis here, right? I don't have a strong opinion because I think both possibilities are likely, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Are possible, very possible.
Very possible, exactly. That's a good way of putting it. So even yesterday, he upheld his innocence against Kevin McCarthy's attacks, and he hit back during his interview with Ari Melber on MSNBC. So let's take a look at that.
Really going to surprise you. This is about term limits, a balanced budget amendment, and single subject spending bills, just like I've been saying for an entire year. I am the most investigated man in the entire Congress. And right there, you saw Kevin McCarthy lying like a dead dog, because I have never asked him to interfere in any ethics matter. I had the FBI and DOJ, who hate me, investigate me for 3 years. You covered it nearly nightly. And even you acknowledged at the end that my denials held up consistently. And the people who spread lies about me are sitting in a federal prison right now because they were part of a criminal scheme, not me.
And by the way, Gaetz didn't let up. I want to go to the next video and then we'll comment on it.
It is interesting to see you go to this point with the speaker. He seems to be implying that you are not doing these things for the reasons you say, but that you were requesting, or perhaps through other people requesting, some special handling or treatment in the ethics complaint. You're saying that's a lie tonight.
That is an abject lie from a sad and pathetic man who lies to hold on to power. He lied to get power in January when he made this agreement, and he's lying now about the basis for breach. And you know what? Eventually, the lying has to come to an end, and the votes are going to start on a motion to vacate. I certainly hope that instead of that path, the Speaker comes into compliance on term limits, balanced budgets, and single subject spending bills. And guess what? If that happens, there will be no motion to vacate, which would totally cut against his argument that this is somehow about an ethics matter of like the lies of yesteryear.
So the motion to vacate is really the sticking point that's starting to really get under McCarthy's skin. I'm gonna get to that in just a moment, because McCarthy apparently behind closed doors has been far more aggressive than he has been publicly. So again, we'll get to that in just a moment. But Cenk, thoughts on everything he just said there?
God, this one is so complicated. It cuts in both directions. So let me explain. So one, I like that Matt Gaetz is calling out colleagues. So there's not enough of that. There's, especially on the Democratic side, everybody's so polite. So as everybody's,
I knew you were going to say it.
Yeah,
I knew
100%, 100%. Because like the corporate Democrats will vote in favor of not negotiating drug prices, which is an absolute outrage. And they do it because they just got paid by drug companies. It's such obvious criminality and legalized bribery, right? And not one progressive Democrat will call it out, because being polite to their colleagues is more important. So I like that Matt Gaetz has gotten rid of that. And boy, if anybody needed to be called out, it's Kevin McCarthy, that's for sure. On the other hand, when he says, I'm the most investigated guy in Congress, it could be because he's not taking corporate PAC money and he's not playing ball. That's very, very possible. It also could be because you merited the investigations, right? And that's the kind of thing that Donald Trump says. So now look, who did the press hate? They hate Bernie Sanders and they hate Donald Trump, right? And so they did all these super unfair things to Bernie that he never merited at all, and we showed you case by case by case. Trump, they hate him, and they would have tried to get him anyway, but then Trump breaks 2,000 laws at once, right? So then goes, I'm being investigated. Yeah, you're being investigated because you broke obvious laws.
Right, there's probable cause, evidence,
right. And so Matt Gaetz calls out Kevin McCarthy for lying, good. But he totally, and like without reservation, supports Donald Trump, who's the biggest pathological liar there is. So, and then on his bills, of course, he's a conservative. I don't agree with balanced budget amendment, etc. But the single subject bills is not that bad an idea at all.
No, I love that idea.
Yeah, and guys, if you're on our side, put aside left, right, etc. But you're on the side of rational people trying to find the right answers. Do not throw out the baby with the bathwater. Do not say, okay, just because it's someone that's on the opposite side or someone I don't like, that means all of their bills are bad. That means all of their ideas are bad and all their points are bad. Well, I mean, in this case, how do you even decide? Kevin McCarthy's a terrible guy, Matt Gaetz is a terrible guy, but they disagree. No, you have to use your mind and independent judgment to come to a conclusion. The balanced budget amendment doesn't make any sense, and I could tell you 1,000 reasons why. On the other hand, single subject bills make a lot of sense.
Yes.
They put in poison pills to destroy every bill so you can't get an honest vote on the bill.
Yes.
And the Republicans and the Democrats both do that.
Yes, totally agree. So now let's get to Kevin McCarthy, right? So Matt Gaetz has all these demands, and Matt Gaetz is dangling, the motion to vacate vote right over Kevin McCarthy's head. Kevin McCarthy wants that leadership role. He wants to stay in place. He wants to maintain that leadership role. And so finally, McCarthy's had enough, and he apparently exploded. Let's get to that. So Melanie Zanona reported that a fired up Speaker McCarthy, addressing his conference behind closed doors, made clear to his members he is not afraid of his critics forcing a vote to oust him as Speaker, and that's according to 3 sources in the room. Move the effing motion, he said, according to the sources. McCarthy also said, hell yes, he's frustrated over their spending struggles and warned Republicans would lose the shutdown fight if they don't start passing bills soon. He also warned that starting next week, they will stay in session if the government is not funded. So he's, I'm actually a little surprised that he wants to ensure that the government's funded.
Who, Kevin McCarthy?
Kevin McCarthy.
No, I'm not at all surprised. Remember, he works for his donors, and the donors are like, don't F with the markets. You shut the government down. It's not as bad as raising the debt ceiling, but it's bad, and don't you dare affect my stock price. And Kevin McCarthy's a dog who's a servant of the rich. So he's like, you're right, sir. Of course, sir. Right away, sir. Now, does that mean that they should shut the government down? No, it doesn't mean that. Shutting the government down is a bad idea for other reasons, but McCarthy doesn't care about the government workers and them not getting checks and you not getting valuable government services that you need. He only cares about being a good dog to his donors. So question everybody's motives, figure out why they're doing what they're actually doing, and get to the truth of the matter.
And finally, just to add a little more reinforcement to the claims of what McCarthy said behind closed doors, Olivia Beavers wrote, another source in the room says this is the correct quote. If you think you scare me because you want to file a motion to vacate, move the effing motion.
To me, what that says is not that Kevin McCarthy is all of a sudden a tough guy. No, he's a coward through and through. He's a coward to Trump. He is after January 6th, he tried to defy him for like a minute, for a hot minute. And then when Trump told him, heel dog, he went to Mar-a-Lago and licked his boots, okay? The least brave man in America. So no, what he's saying there is, I think I locked up enough votes that I'm not worried about Matt Gaetz and that crew, because at the end of the day, everybody here realized, oh right, we're all corrupt, and if the donors order us to do something, we're gonna do it. Now, having said that, I'm not sure that he's right on his vote count, and I'm very curious to see what's gonna happen in terms of the government shutdown, because a lot of Republicans are itching for that shutdown. They think it's gonna hurt Biden, and so that's part of the reason that they wanna do it, and they don't give a damn about the average American. So that's gonna come to a head, and is McCarthy competent enough to know for sure that he's got the votes? I don't know, last time it took 15 votes for him to get it, right?
Yeah, true, very true. We'll see.
So there are no good guys here, but there's nuance that you need to understand the story right.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.